Hey, what's going on YouTube? So today I'm going to showcase an Oakensoul heavy attack build for the Magicka Necromancer, updated for the Necrom Update 39 DLC patch. This build parses about 90k on the parse dummy and is tailored for group content. Since this build is a heavy attack build, no light attacks are going to be required. As with all builds, please use these builds as a baseline, as there are many viable gear sets and skills in the game, and builds should be tailored for specific content for optimal results. Because this is a hybrid build and we are medium armor, penetration can become an issue. Furthermore, this is not a solo build, but with maybe a skill change or two, most notably a heal, it should be fine for overland content as well. With that being said, here we go. So starting off in the character sheet, we're running 64 points in a Magicka, and as usual, we're running the Thief Mundus. For the race, because we are a Magicka based build, we are sticking with High Elf. For the food, you have a few different options. You can either run tri-stat or bi-stat food, depending on which one you need more. I'd honestly just recommend tri-stat food because that extra off-stat resource is nice, especially when you need a block and dodge roll. As far as potions are concerned, because your sustain is really good, you probably don't really need a potion for sustain. Instead, you can just run resistance potions. This is going to give you health and then spell and physical resistance. So for the CP, for the blue tree, we're going to be running Exploiter, Weapons Expert, Deadly Aim, and Backstabber. You can swap out Backstabber for fighting Finesse, especially if you can't flank the enemy. As far as the red tree is concerned, I'm just running the standard Boundless Vitality, Fortified, Rejuve, and Celerity. For the gear, we're running 5-piece Sergeant with 5-piece Deadly and 1-piece Slime with Oakensoul. So breaking down in the main hand, we have a precise flame damage enchanted lightning staff with the Sergeant. For the head slot, we have Slime Crawl Light, Divines with Max Mag, 1-piece Sergeant Chest, Divines with Max Mag, and the rest of the body, 5-piece Deadly, all trading Divines with Max Mag enchants. And for the jewelry, 2 pieces of Sergeant Jewelry, Bloodthirsty with Weapon and Spell Damage enchants, and lastly the Oakensoul Bloodthirsty with a Weapon and Spell Damage enchant. So for the skills, we're running Blast Bones. This is the bread and butter of any Necro DPS. This lines up almost exactly perfectly with a heavy attack tick or the final pop, so it works out pretty well. Barb Trap, really strong dot. Only issue with this is you have to be in melee range, but it does good damage and also has a good chance of hemorrhaging, which is another good dot. Unstable Wall, this is kind of like your flex spot. You can run a different AoE if you prefer, but Unstable Wall with a charge shock on your front bar is going to ensure off balance whenever it's off cooldown. But if someone else is giving you off balance, you can swap this out for anything else. Detonating Siphon adds passive damage and uses a corpse to do a dot. Also explodes, not a bad skill. Skeletal Archer to proc the passives for having a pet out and also does good damage. And lastly, Shooting Star as your ultimate. Feel free to swap this out for like Colossus if you do need a source of major vuln in the group. So the rotation is super simple. Just hold down your heavy attack button and then Q in skills. So make sure your dots are up, trap, archer, detonating, and wall. And then when you don't have anything better to cast, just use your Blast Bones and then just drop your meteor whenever it's ready. So after the nerfs to Stormmaster, I think Deadly is a viable option. If probably is slightly better than the nerf Stormmaster, just because the RNG for the crit to keep up Stormmaster is just too high. Furthermore, because each tick of the lightning staff heavy attack except for the last pop is all single target damage went up but AoE went down. And as per usual, just some quick gear alternatives. The Undaunted sets aren't actually that bad, they're pretty good, Infiltrator and Unweaver. Night Slayer is an okay set. The fact that it does 8k Oblivion damage isn't too bad, but it's definitely not going to outperform Deadly or even Stormmaster, which Stormmaster is still a good set, it's just not as strong. And if you need a light armor option, you can go Noble Duelist. Noble Duelist is still really strong. And lastly, Infallible Mage is okay at best. I would definitely not recommend it just because of the stacking of the Minor Slayer, and because it is a name buff you can't really stack it, so it's kind of pointless. And the heavy attack boost itself isn't really that strong compared to the other sets. And I think that wraps it up. As always, thanks for watching the video. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below, or better yet, come join our Discord. Link is in the description. I will have a written guide linked in the description for those who would prefer that instead. And as always, thank you to my YouTube members. If you want to help me support my content creation, please consider becoming a member. And as always, thanks again, and see you in the next one.